Good morning, my About are back. It's Thursday, 28th of October, 2021. Here's the plan. More monster forms for the columns in the house. Walls, front wall, south wall, and maybe they go around the corner in the south wall. And some continuing discussions about the consequences of the neighbours' wall falling down. What could possibly go wrong? Back to the site of yesterday's mini disaster. First and foremost, nobody got hurt when the wall came down. So to some extent, we're very fortunate. So the conversation has already started with the neighbour about what happens now. I think we will probably be rebuilding their wall. That's the builder's call, not mine. Quite honestly, if it was me, I'd be tempted to put up a little bit of a fight. I think if you've built a very poor quality wall, and our guys did look at it and confirmed it was pretty crappy for several reasons, but it sounds like the builder is going to agree to rebuild it, and then round the corner we'll see what they plan to do there. When they turn the corner, apparently the plan is to only build 2 sections at a time, and as they go they will basically connect our wall to the next wall in the hope of giving that a little bit more strength. So we'll see if that plan works. We'll see whether the deal is struck to rebuild their wall. We'll keep an eye on this one over the next few days. The first step in the process is hammer the heck out of the fallen down wall, break it into smaller parts and get it out of the way. Nathaniel's on the big hammer at the moment, and we've got 5 other guys that are helping to clear up the mess. A delivery. More of the tubular, well, square tubular steel that they're using to build those monster columns. More rebar. And the engineer's doing his inspection to see that what's been ordered has actually arrived. Front wall. 5 guys. Getting more concrete poured into this column for now, and they will move along the beam. Forms going into place for the last 4 columns in this area of wall. I think they'll make a fair bit of progress getting that beam and those columns done today. Stephen in China asked, was the depth of the floor for the wet rooms really 10 centimetres lower than the rest of the floor? And the answer is, because I checked this morning, I came and measured all of the 3 wet rooms on this floor, they're actually between 8 and 9 centimetres, so not quite the 10 centimetre depth. It is of course slightly difficult to measure with a slightly uneven floor surface, but I'm pretty confident they're all between 8 and 9 centimetres. So thanks for the question, Stephen. Keep them coming. Once again, Manny has given up control of the diggerator. He's a changed man since his vaccination. Does it impact behaviour? It's just after lunch, and the first column inside the house is being poured, and the rather large vibrator is back. Again, trying to ensure there are no voids in the concrete. Now, as far as I know, they did not use the vibrator until near the end of this process. So hopefully it won't have an impact on the lower section of the beam, of the column. We'll see in a couple of days. And they're continuing to wet down the concrete, help the curing process. And here in the carport, Richard, original Richard, can't call him old Richard, is tying in the tie beam. So they've started in this corner, here in the storage room, and he's getting across towards where the first break is between the storage room and the carport, which is right here. And here at the front wall, team of 4, continuing to mix up the concrete to put into this tie beam and into the columns up to the height of that tie beam. So they still have on this section of wall, as far as I can see, 1, 2, 3, 4 columns worth left to go, or sections of wall. 12 metres. That may possibly be done by the end of today. We'll have to see. Here by the road, on the southeast corner, we're getting a beam across the top. That will be basically up to that's the full height of the wall. Well, plus the various centimetres of concrete surrounding that beam. I did just measure a couple of points, and we are very, very close to 2.5 metres. It's not easy to measure on undulating ground, and of course as you go along the wall there are variations, but the two I measured were both very close to 2.5 metres. So that looks like the next step, and then of course once all of that is done, there will be additional barbed wire or similar across the top to take it up, well, certainly towards a 3 metre height. Undecided so far exactly how high that will be, but we won't know that for quite a while. And here we are at the site of the wall catastrophe yesterday, where this whole section of the neighbours' wall fell down. And what you might be able to make out is that our guys are rebuilding it. The builder met with the neighbour again this morning, and he has agreed to rebuild their wall. They are apparently delighted, and not surprisingly, given that we're going to be putting in place a fairly solid wall compared to what was there before, which could not be described as solid. So yeah, it's being rebuilt all the way from down there, where their wall is just about still standing, all the way up to this corner. And I'm not sure whether the neighbour's wall will survive as we go round, but they'll try and keep it upright. By doing as I said this morning, they'll only build 1 or 2 sections at a time, and they will put connections in between the 2 walls to try and add support to this wall that's there now. This was the site of our charcoal project, which is basically all but done. Everything has burned down. There might be a little bit more charcoal to be dug out, but ultimately this is what we have. Bags and bags and bags and bags of it. And the deal was that we didn't really pay the Marlon to do this, but he takes a larger proportion of the charcoal, and that's his to sell. We keep some. So hopefully we all come out winners. And over here we have what we can laughingly call my beginning attempts at gardening. Compost heap number 1, which is fairly well established now. The temperature has gone right down inside. It's not really hot composting anymore, but we'll still leave that for a long time, several months. It'll need turning at some point probably. I'm talking as if I know what I'm talking about. I've got no idea. But from what I've seen on videos, we'll have to turn that one again. But it does, if anybody watched when this was put together, which may have been episode 1, 2, 3, I can't remember, that pile pretty much came up to the top of the pallets. So it really does compact down. And then we have a second pile going. This is going to be quite a bit slower. The first pile was almost exclusively grass clippings and sawdust. This one has a whole bunch of leaves and other stuff in there. Bigger structure material. It will take longer to heat up and mature. But we can see right now the temperature on there is about 130 degrees. On the first pile we just looked at, it's right down now, having been up as high as certainly 140, maybe even higher. It's now down to around about 90 degrees. So there is a lot of heat still in this one, very little heat left in the other one. There you go, compost. Who'd have thunk it? Me and compost. And finally on compost, we have tons more material that we haven't really done anything with. It's just all piled up. This is just leaves. This would compost itself. It'll be significantly slower. It'll turn into a leaf mulch. I might try and combine this with other material over the next couple of weeks. See if we can speed up the process a bit. Well, it's gone 4:30. The day is officially done. Although there is some overtime going on, but not here. This is the site of the collapsed wall, and they are making some progress towards rebuilding it. So we have a double thickness wall going on over here, and they're moving down this way with concrete tie beams and the column. So it is going to slow them down, obviously, but they have completed a couple of sections already of the double wall. The front wall, they have indeed completed this tie beam and all of the columns all the way across except this last one, which is awaiting completion. And they've started to knock away at this old wall, so that will be gone in the not too distant future, and that will allow them then to carry on building the wall basically from where the gate will end. Here we have a happy crew. They're doing overtime and they are in the process of pouring column number 6. 5 done, couple more over here with forms partially complete. I imagine they won't get much further tonight unless they plan on finishing off those forms. But good progress today in here. A little bit of overtime. It's we've benefited today from some pretty nice weather. It's been a little cooler, little bit of breeze at times. And it's a beautiful, beautiful evening. Come to the Philippines. Well, if you're allowed to. And if you're vaccinated. And if you don't mind people not always being on time. But it's a beautiful evening. Right, the day is officially over. These guys will carry on a little bit more. We'll see you tomorrow.